All right, he was in North Korea just a couple of days ago, but now Vladimir Putin is scolding South Korea for criticizing the visit or even worrying about it, saying that South Korea should not worry about the agreement between Russia and North Korea. That's where they signed this mutual defense pact, but also said that, Seoul should watch it itself, that its supply of weapons to Kyiv would be a big mistake. In the middle of that, we have the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, just back from South Korea. All of this was going on, not so much this particular visit, but the fuss and the friction between South Korea and North Korea. Governor, very good to have you. Were you there with this point when North Korea was dumping garbage on South Korea? I mean, it's gotten to be really tense between the two countries.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Neil. That was going on just right before we went over there. I didn't really see any presence of that over there.
Okay.
Nobody was talking about it. We did go up and visit the DMZ and the Joint Security Area, which was incredible to see. I mean, there was a North Korean soldier just 100 yards from us with binoculars, watching us the whole time we were there. And we were with America's finest and the Joint Security Force that's up there. But it was really eye-opening to see the stark differences between tyranny and freedom. And the rest of the week when we were in South Korea up to my visit with President Yoon was just incredible. I mean, very vibrant community. People are not so worried. Obviously, that's, top of mind, but people aren't dwelling on that every day. You're just seeing democracy in action and, really a lot of great business that's going on. And that's why we were there, and it was great to see.
I'm always amazed, as I'm sure you are, Governor, when you take aerial, images of South Korea and North Korea at night, for example. Virtually everything in North Korea is blacked out. There are no lights. In South Korea, of course, it's a busy, bustling entire country, particularly Seoul. It's a contrast of amazing worlds here. What do you make of that, and where does Georgia stand conducting more business potentially with South Korea?
Well, being up there at the Joint Security Area at the DMZ and, just being literally 25, 50 yards, I guess, from the demarcation line where the buildings were, where President Trump stepped over and visited with with Kim Jong-un. Hearing the stories up there from some of the soldiers, I mean, you can watch them, you can see rice fields on the other side in North Korea, and they were telling me that they're planting those rice fields by hand, where on the South Korean side, they're planting them with mechanization and harvesting with mechanization. So it's just completely different on the economic front between the two countries. I mean, people are not trying to break into North Korea. They're trying to break out of North Korea and get to the free world and democracy and having a chance at, innovation like we saw. And, we've had 3 record years of economic development, job growth, and investment in our state. And South Korean companies have been a huge part of that, our largest partner in terms of investment and jobs over the last 3 years. And we're continuing to build off of that. I'm very optimistic about the future of a lot of these companies growing in Georgia, doing expansions, but we met with a couple of prospects while we were over there. And so we feel really good about where we are and what our future looks like. And they certainly feel that way too. They love the state of Georgia and they love America. And that was great for us to see while we were there.
Did you score any deals? You mentioned a couple of companies. Obviously, maybe you don't want to reveal them, but I mean, how close are you to some business deals that go beyond just the ones you already have?
Well, we're really close on a few, but it's a very competitive market.
Indeed.
As you know, in the South and Southeast where we are,
Texas is trying to outbid you on a lot of these. They're trying to compel them. Well, we're a better place to go to. It's a friendly rivalry, I guess, and Florida doing the same. I'm just wondering, how do you guys jibe on that?
Well, look, we're great friends, but we're fierce competitors, and that's good. It helps us keep the business environments good. I mean, look, we've held our own against even a big state like Texas that has a lot of advantages that we don't have, like having oil wells and gas wells. But we got a great workforce, got a great education system. We have great logistics and infrastructure, and we have a great business environment in our state. But that's why the GDP in the South is outpacing the Northeast, first time ever. That was announced about a year and a half ago, Neil, because states like Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, South Carolina, You know, we've got great Republican governors, quite honestly, that have worked with great Republican legislators to have a great business environment. And that's why South Korean companies and other companies around the world and around the United States are coming to our states. And that's something we're going to continue to work on and talk about and compete every single day.
All right, real quick, you've had a fractious relationship with Donald Trump, but you are a Republican first and foremost. Donald Trump leads in your state, but some polls by as much as 10 points. How do you feel about all that?
Well, I think he's leading here because this is going to be a pocketbook election. You know, the Democrats are going to try to get the American people and Republicans distracted talking about all these other issues. And I've said in the past, and I'll say today, we need to be focused on the future. And I think President Trump, as the debate comes to Atlanta, Georgia next week, can make the case, look, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Are you paying more for groceries, more for energy, you know, more for your insurance, more for your rent? Is the disaster a border? And if that's the case, you know, I think President Trump's going to continue to do well in Georgia.
But if he focuses on the last election, and you criticized him for that and put your feet down when it came to recounts and the rest that he argued were fixed, that's where you draw the line?
Well, I just think that's where the voters that are going to decide this election in swing states like ours and places like Wisconsin and Arizona and Michigan and others, you know, they're not focused on what happened 4 years ago, Neil. They're focused on, you know, how bad they're getting hurt when they go to the grocery store, or they fill up their gas tank, or how much their rent is, or somebody, you know, can even afford to buy a house these days, you know, how much more the mortgage rate's going to be because we've spent too much money and created an inflationary environment. So I think if President Trump stays focused on those things, and I think he will, he's going to do well in Georgia. And he won't just do well in Georgia. I think he'll do well in other swing states. But we got to stay focused on the future.
Got it. Governor, great seeing you. That's right. It's a little week from today in your fine state. Brian Kemp, the governor of the beautiful state of Georgia. What an incredible turnaround story there.